Tom wiped the sweat from his forehead as he leaned on the wooden handle of his hoe. The sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows across his golden wheat fields. It had been another long day of hard work, but Tom didn't mind. The farm was his life, and even though it was small, it was his. He had always believed that there was something honest and simple about working the land, feeling the soil beneath his fingers, and watching crops grow under his care. He turned to check the edge of the field, planning to finish the last row before dusk. That's when he heard it, a loud, strange crashing sound, unlike anything he had ever heard before. It was sharp, sudden, and frightening. His heart skipped a beat. Tom looked around. The source seemed to come from the far corner of the property, where the wheat grew taller and denser. Curiosity and worry pushed him forward. He dropped the hoe and ran. As he approached, he could see smoke curling into the evening sky. A small airplane, its metal body twisted and bent, had fallen into his field. Tom's breath caught. He had never seen an accident like this so close. Panic rose in his chest, but he forced himself to stay calm. He scanned the wreckage, calling out, "Hello? Is anyone there? Are you okay?" A faint groan answered him. He ran faster, dodging broken stalks of wheat. That's when he saw her, a young woman, trapped inside the airplane's small cockpit. Her hair was messy, streaked with dirt and blood, and her clothes were torn. Her eyes fluttered open as she tried to move, and a small whimper escaped her lips. Without a second thought, Tom climbed carefully into the wreckage. He knew he had to get her out before the plane shifted or caught fire. He reached her side and gently helped her out of the cockpit. She was light, but fragile, like someone had dropped her from the sky. "It's okay. I've got you," Tom whispered, more to reassure himself than her. He lifted her in his arms and ran toward the farmhouse. By the time he reached the small house at the edge of the field, the sun was nearly gone, and the sky had turned shades of deep orange and purple. He laid her down on the old couch in his living room. It was not a big house, but it was clean and warm, and Tom felt it was enough for now. He quickly fetched a bowl of water and a damp cloth, gently wiping the blood from her forehead. She stirred slightly and opened her eyes again, revealing deep brown eyes filled with confusion and fear. "Thank you," she murmured softly, her voice weak and trembling. I don't know what happened." "You're safe now," Tom said. "Don't worry. You're not alone anymore. I'll take care of you." He noticed the slight shiver in her body and wrapped a blanket around her shoulders. She gave him a small nod but didn't speak further. Tom decided not to ask too many questions just yet. He knew she needed rest and care first. Tom couldn't help but look at her. Even though she was injured and exhausted, there was something about her presence that made the room feel different. She seemed out of place here, in his small farmhouse, yet there was a quiet strength in her expression. He had seen many things in his life, but something about her eyes made him pause. After getting her settled, Tom went outside for a moment, looking back at the wrecked plane in his field. His mind raced. How had this happened? Where had she come from? The farm was far from the nearest airport. He shook his head, trying not to think too much about it. For now, the only thing he could do was help her recover. That night, Tom kept a small lamp on in the living room and sat nearby, watching her sleep. He remembered the first time he had come to this farm as a boy, how it felt like the entire world was in front of him, waiting to be discovered. Life had been hard since then, but it was honest and steady. Seeing her here, fragile and alone, made him feel a strange mixture of fear and responsibility. He promised himself silently that he would protect her, no matter what. Outside, the wind rustled through the wheat, carrying the soft scent of earth and grass. Tom thought about the quiet life he had built, simple and predictable, and realized that everything was about to change. He didn't know how, and he didn't know why, but something about this strange, unexpected visitor felt important. Somehow, this accident in the middle of his wheat field was only the beginning of a story he could not yet imagine. As the night grew darker, the farmhouse felt warm and safe, a small haven in the middle of uncertainty. Tom sat there quietly, listening to her soft breathing, feeling a connection forming in the silence. Tomorrow would bring questions, and tomorrow would bring challenges, but tonight, there was only the stillness of the house, the gentle flicker of the lamp, and the unspoken promise that he would not let her face the world alone. And somewhere deep inside, he wondered what kind of life this young woman had come from, and what secrets lay hidden behind her tired eyes. The morning sun filtered through the thin curtains, casting a warm glow across Tom's modest living room. Anna stirred, blinking against the light. She slowly sat up, wincing slightly as she moved. Tom was already in the kitchen, preparing a simple breakfast: eggs, bread, and tea. The smell of cooking filled the room, and Anna felt a strange comfort she hadn't expected. "Good morning," Tom said, smiling gently. "How are you feeling?" Anna paused, unsure how to answer. Her head still ached, and her body ached even more. "Better," she whispered finally. "Thanks to you." Tom handed her a cup of tea and a small plate of toast. "Eat something," he said. "You need strength. You've been through a lot." She took the tea, her hands shaking slightly. As she sipped it, she looked around the room. The house was simple, but it had a warmth she hadn't felt in a long time. There were old wooden chairs, a small bookshelf with a few worn books, and a handmade quilt draped over the couch. Everything spoke of care, effort, and honesty. "You live here alone?" she asked softly, her curiosity finally breaking through. "Yes," Tom replied. "Just me. My parents passed years ago, and I've been managing the farm ever since. It's not much, but it's enough." Anna nodded, taking another bite of toast. She didn't share much about herself. She wasn't sure if she could yet. Something about Tom made her feel safe, and yet she feared revealing too much of her own world, a world so different from his simple farm life. Over the next few days, Tom helped Anna regain her strength. He showed her where the bathroom was, helped her with simple stretches, and made sure she drank enough water. Despite the awkwardness of their first meeting, a gentle rhythm began to form between them. They didn't need many words, the quiet moments of care spoke louder than anything. Anna found herself watching Tom in his daily routines. How he moved with ease through the fields, how he spoke to the chickens, and how he cared for every small plant in his garden. There was something soothing about his life, something grounded and real. For the first time in months, Anna felt calm. She didn't have to pretend. She didn't have to worry about appearances or expectations. Here, in this small house with the soft smell of earth and bread, she could simply be herself. Tom, in turn, couldn't stop thinking about her. There was a light in her eyes, even when she was in pain. He noticed the little ways she smiled, how she tilted her head when she was curious, and how she spoke quietly, choosing her words carefully. He didn't know her story, and he didn't need to yet. He just wanted to see her safe and well. One evening, after a long day of checking the fields and repairing fences, Tom returned to find Anna sitting on the porch, watching the sun dip behind the hills. "It's beautiful," she said softly. Yes, Tom agreed. It's peaceful here. The world can be harsh, but this is calm. Anna smiled faintly. She wanted to tell him about her life, about the responsibilities and pressures she carried, but the words stuck in her throat. How could she explain that she came from a world filled with wealth and expectations? How could she tell him she was a millionaire? It seemed impossible. For now, she would remain silent and let herself enjoy the simplicity of the moment. Days turned into a quiet routine. Tom would tend the farm, and Anna would help him where she could. She learned to feed the chickens, water the vegetables, and even help repair a broken fence. Tom was patient, never treating her as weak or fragile. He treated her as a partner, someone he could trust. One afternoon, a gentle rain began to fall. Tom and Anna were working near the barn when the drops started hitting their faces. They ran inside, laughing, shaking off the water. Inside the barn, surrounded by the earthy smell of hay, they paused. Anna's hair was damp, her cheeks flushed. For a moment, time seemed to slow. Tom looked at her, and she looked at him. Neither said anything, yet both felt a growing connection that neither could ignore. That night, as Anna lay in bed, she thought about the farm, about Tom, and about the strange, unexpected turn her life had taken. She had fallen from the sky, literally, into a life so different from her own, and yet, it felt right. For the first time, she felt unafraid. She felt seen. She felt like she belonged somewhere. Tom, meanwhile, sat by the small lamp in the living room, listening to the rain tapping on the roof. He thought about the girl he had saved, about her quiet strength, and about the warmth that had entered his house since she arrived. He didn't know where she had come from or where she would go, but he knew one thing: something in his life had changed forever, and he could feel the first stirrings of hope, of possibility, and maybe even something deeper. The storm passed, leaving the air fresh and clean. Outside, the stars began to appear, one by one. Tom looked at them and thought about the days ahead, unsure of what they would bring, but certain that they would not be ordinary. In his heart, he hoped that Anna would stay a little longer, that the bond forming between them would grow, and that somehow, their worlds so different, yet now intertwined, would find a way to meet. Little did they know, the real story was only beginning, and the quiet farmhouse that had seemed so ordinary was about to become the place where two very different lives would change forever. The morning air was crisp and fresh, carrying the gentle scent of soil and wheat. Anna had begun to move around more confidently, though every step reminded her of the crash. Tom had prepared a small breakfast, placing a steaming cup of tea and a plate of eggs in front of her. "Feeling stronger today?" Tom asked with a warm smile. Anna nodded. "A little. Thank you, for everything. I don't know what I would have done without you." "You don't have to thank me," Tom said simply. "You were in trouble. Anyone would have done the same." She studied him for a moment. There was honesty in his eyes, something rare and comforting. She had met many people in her life, but none like Tom. He didn't care about her appearance, her past, or where she came from. He cared only about the present moment, about her. The days passed quietly, each one blending into the next with routine and care. Tom worked in the fields from dawn until evening, and Anna helped as much as she could. She learned to feed the chickens, gather eggs, and even mend a torn fence with Tom's guidance. Her hands were clumsy at first, but Tom never criticized her. Instead, he encouraged her gently, praising even the smallest successes. During breaks, they would sit under the old oak tree at the edge of the field. Tom would talk about the farm, the changing seasons, and the simple pleasures of life. Anna listened, captivated by his words. For a moment, she could forget her past, forget the pressures and expectations she had always carried. Here, in this quiet place, she felt free. One afternoon, a strong wind swept through the wheat field, rustling the tall stalks. Tom was repairing a gate when he noticed Anna struggling to carry a basket of eggs. He rushed over and helped her, holding the basket steady. "Thanks," she said, smiling shyly. Tom shrugged. "No problem. It's better to work together anyway." Their laughter echoed across the field, mixing with the soft whisper of the wind. Anna felt a warmth in her chest she had not known for a long time. Life had been fast and complicated before, but here, it felt simple, pure, and honest. At night, after dinner, they would sit by the fireplace, talking quietly. Anna told stories about her travels, carefully avoiding details about her family and wealth. Tom shared memories of his childhood on the farm, of hard winters and long days, and of the few friends he had left in the nearby town. Despite their different lives, a connection grew between them, subtle but undeniable. One evening, as the sky turned shades of pink and orange, Anna asked quietly, "Tom, do you ever wonder what it would be like to leave this place? To see the world beyond the fields?" Tom paused, leaning against the door frame. "Sometimes," he admitted. "But I've always believed that happiness is not in the places we go, but in the life we make wherever we are. This farm, it may be small, but it's mine. And I'm happy here." Anna nodded, feeling a pang of longing. Her life had always been about money, decisions, and appearances. She had traveled to places she could never count, met people who had everything and yet nothing, and still felt empty inside. Here, with Tom, she had discovered something she had never expected: peace, and a sense of belonging. As the days turned into a week, Anna's recovery became almost complete. Her injuries healed, her strength returned, and she moved with ease around the farm. Yet, despite her physical healing, there was an unspoken tension growing inside her. She knew she could not stay in this simple life forever. Her world was waiting for her, full of responsibilities and expectations she could not ignore. One afternoon, while watering the vegetables, she paused and watched Tom work in the sun. There was a natural grace to the way he moved, a dedication that spoke of love and care. Anna felt a surge of emotion she could not name: gratitude, admiration, and perhaps the beginnings of something deeper. "Tom," she began hesitantly, I want to stay here, at least for a little longer. I've never felt so calm, and I don't want to leave this place yet." Tom looked up from his work, surprised. He smiled gently. "You're welcome to stay as long as you like," he said. "The farm is yours too, now, if you want it to be." Anna smiled, feeling a lightness she had not felt in years. She realized that this farm, this simple life, and this kind, honest man had become her refuge. Here, she could heal not just physically, but emotionally. She could rediscover herself, free from the pressures and expectations of her previous life. That night, as the moon rose over the fields, Anna lay in bed thinking about the days she had spent with Tom. She knew the real world would eventually call her back, but for now, she allowed herself to stay in this quiet haven. She felt a connection growing between them, subtle yet powerful, like the first roots of a tree reaching deep into the earth. Tom, in the living room, looked at the small lamp casting a warm glow across the room. He thought about the girl he had rescued, about the bond forming between them, and about the gentle hope that had entered his life. He didn't know what the future held, but he knew that something important had begun. And so, as the stars appeared in the clear night sky, both of them drifted into sleep with the comforting thought that life, no matter how uncertain, had a way of bringing people together in the most unexpected ways. The sun rose slowly, painting the fields in warm gold and soft shadows. Anna had been awake for a while, sitting by the window and watching the wheat sway in the morning breeze. The peace of the farm filled her heart, but a quiet tension had started to grow inside her. She knew that the world she had left behind was still waiting, a world she could not run from forever. Tom came in with a basket of freshly gathered eggs, his shirt damp from the morning dew. "Good morning," he said cheerfully. "Sleep well?" Anna smiled softly. "Yes, thank you." She hesitated, then added, "Tom, I need to tell you something important." Tom set the basket down and sat across from her. He looked at her carefully, sensing the seriousness in her tone. "What is it?" he asked gently. Anna took a deep breath. Her fingers twisted nervously in her lap. "I haven't told you much about myself," she began. "There's a reason. The truth is, I'm not just a traveler. My family, we have a large company. I'm a millionaire." For a moment, silence hung between them. Tom blinked, trying to process her words. His mind raced, but his expression remained calm, careful not to show any surprise or judgment. "I see," he said finally, his voice steady. Anna looked down, afraid of his reaction. She had imagined him being angry, distant, or even disappointed. She had feared that this revelation would change everything between them. "I didn't want to tell you," she admitted. I didn't want this to come between us. I like this life here, with you, without all the pressure of my other world." Tom leaned back in his chair, thinking. The truth was startling, yes, but it didn't change the way he felt about her. He had come to care for Anna not because of her wealth, but because of her presence, her laughter, her strength, and the kindness she had shown even in her vulnerable state. "Anna," he said finally, his voice gentle, "I don't care about your money. I care about you. That's all that matters to me." Relief washed over her face, and she looked up at him, eyes wide with hope. "You really mean that?" she asked softly. "I do," Tom replied. "It doesn't change anything here. You're still welcome, and you're still safe. This farm, it's yours too, if you want it to be." For a moment, she felt tears cling her eyes. She had expected rejection or judgment, but instead, she found acceptance, honesty, and warmth, the very things she had been missing in her life. "Thank you," she whispered. I don't know how to explain how much that means to me." Tom reached over and gave her hand a gentle squeeze. "You don't have to explain. Just stay here a while longer. That's enough." In the following days, Anna found a new kind of freedom. She began to open up more, sharing stories from her life, stories of travel, learning, and experiences she had had, without mentioning her wealth. Tom listened with genuine interest, asking questions and laughing at her humorous tales. She had expected that her background would make them worlds apart, but the truth was that the simplicity of the farm, and the honesty of Tom, had a way of leveling everything. One afternoon, while helping Tom repair the barn roof, Anna paused to look out at the fields stretching endlessly in golden waves. "It's beautiful here," she said softly. "I never imagined a place could feel so alive and calm at the same time." Tom smiled, wiping sweat from his forehead. "It's all about how you see it," he said. "This farm may not be rich in money, but it's rich in life, in purpose, and in moments like this." Anna felt a warmth spread through her chest. She had spent so much time in her previous life chasing things that didn't matter, and yet here, in this quiet farmhouse and open field, she found something priceless: peace and connection. However, deep down, a small worry lingered. She knew that her family would eventually come looking for her. They would demand she return, insisting that her place was back in the world of business, not in a small farmhouse. Anna didn't know how she would face them, and she feared that the life she was beginning to love might be taken away from her. That night, as the stars appeared in the clear sky, Anna lay awake, thinking about her future. She glanced at the small lamp in the living room, where Tom had fallen asleep after finishing his chores. She felt a surge of gratitude for this man, for his patience, his kindness, and the way he had accepted her without judgment. "I don't want to lose this," she whispered to herself. "I don't want to lose him, or this life." Tom, meanwhile, dreamed quietly in his chair, unaware of the worry in Anna's mind. He thought about the days they had spent together, about her laughter, and about the quiet bond that had grown between them. He didn't know her full story yet, but he knew that he wanted her to stay, not because of what she had, but because of who she was. And so, the days passed on the farm, calm and quiet, yet filled with an undercurrent of uncertainty. Anna's secret had been revealed, but the challenge of their different worlds had only just begun. Despite that, a deep connection had formed between them, a connection that promised hope, change, and the possibility of something extraordinary in the simple life they were building together. The days on the farm had grown into a comforting routine. Anna woke to the sound of roosters, helped Tom with chores, and spent the evenings watching the sun dip behind the hills. She had begun to feel that she belonged, even if only temporarily, in this quiet, simple life. Yet, in the back of her mind, a quiet worry never left her. Her world, the life of wealth and expectation, was still out there, waiting for her return. Tom, for his part, noticed a subtle change in her mood. She laughed more freely and moved with ease in the fields, but sometimes, her gaze would drift toward the horizon, distant and thoughtful. He didn't press her. He had learned that patience was important, especially with someone recovering not just from injuries but also from life itself. One afternoon, while fixing a fence along the edge of the property, Anna asked softly, "Tom, have you ever thought about what it would be like if someone like me stayed here for good?" Tom paused, hammer in hand. He looked at her carefully, seeing the uncertainty and fear behind her eyes. "I've thought about it," he admitted. "But I also know that the world you come from, it's not the same as this one. It might be hard to stay, no matter how much you want to." Anna nodded, biting her lip. "I know. But sometimes, I wish I didn't have to go back. Sometimes, I wish this could be my life, simple, honest, full of things that matter." Tom set the hammer down and walked toward her, brushing a stray lock of hair from her face. "Anna, life is always complicated," he said gently. "But happiness isn't in money or power. It's in moments like this, watching the sunset, working together, feeling safe. That's what matters." Anna's eyes filled with emotion. She had spent so many years chasing things that didn't bring her peace. Here, with Tom, she felt grounded, valued, and free. Yet, even as her heart felt lighter, the weight of reality pressed upon her. She knew her family would come looking for her, and they would expect her to return immediately. The thought of leaving filled her with fear. Not fear of returning to wealth, but fear of losing the connection she had formed with Tom. She had never felt such a bond with anyone before, and the idea of separation felt unbearable. Tom sensed her inner struggle. He reached out and held her hand. "Whatever happens," he said softly, "I hope you remember this: the peace, the care, the way life can feel here. No matter what your world says, this place will always be yours too." Days later, a black car appeared at the edge of the farm. Anna froze when she saw it. Her family had come. Her heart raced. She didn't know if she was ready for this confrontation, and she feared it might destroy the fragile peace she had found. Tom noticed the change immediately. He put a hand on her shoulder. "It's okay," he said. "Whatever happens, we'll face it together." Anna nodded, swallowing hard. The car door opened, and two well-dressed people stepped out. They scanned the farm and then saw her. Their expressions softened with relief. "Anna." "There you are," her mother exclaimed. Anna stepped forward, hesitating. I'm fine," she said quietly. Her mother looked concerned. "We were worried." "What happened to you?" Tom stepped forward. "She was in a plane crash," he explained. "I found her in my field and helped her recover." Her father looked at Tom, assessing him silently. "You've been taking care of her?" he asked. "Yes," Tom replied. "She's safe and recovering well. She stayed here because she needed rest." There was a long pause. Anna's parents exchanged looks. "Anna," her mother said gently, "you have responsibilities waiting for you. You can't stay here forever." Anna felt a surge of emotion. She looked at Tom, whose calm and honest expression reassured her. I want to stay," she said firmly. "I want to be here, at least for a while longer." Her father frowned. "You can't hide from your duties," he said. Tom stepped closer to Anna. "Maybe your responsibilities are important," he said carefully, "but so is your happiness. She has found peace here, and she deserves to decide for herself what she wants." Anna's parents looked at each other, conflicted. They had never seen her so determined, so calm in her choice. Finally, her mother sighed. "Very well. But you must promise to think carefully about your future." Anna nodded, relief washing over her. She turned to Tom and smiled, feeling a deep gratitude for his support. For the first time in her life, she felt that someone truly understood her, not her money, not her family, but her heart. That evening, after her parents left, Anna and Tom sat on the porch, watching the sun set over the golden fields. "Thank you," she whispered, "for standing by me, even when it wasn't easy." Tom shook his head. "I didn't do it for thanks. I did it because I care about you. And I want to see you happy, no matter what the world expects." Anna leaned her head on his shoulder. For the first time, she allowed herself to believe that perhaps, just perhaps, two very different worlds could find a way to coexist, not perfectly, but beautifully, through understanding, patience, and care. As the stars appeared in the clear night sky, Anna felt a sense of hope she hadn't known for years. The future was uncertain, her responsibilities awaited, and her world was still very different from this one. Yet, for the first time, she felt that she could face it all not alone, but together with Tom. The morning was bright, but the air carried a tense stillness. Anna had spent the night thinking about her parents' words and the choices she faced. She loved the calm of the farm, the simple life with Tom, and the freedom she had never known. But she also knew that her family would not let her stay forever without trying to pull her back into their world. Tom noticed her quiet mood at breakfast. "You're thinking about them again, aren't you?" he asked softly. Anna nodded, staring at her cup of tea. I don't know how much longer I can stay. They will come back if they need to. And I don't want to disappoint them, but I don't want to leave this life. Not you. Tom reached across the table, gently holding her hand. "Anna, listen. You don't have to make all the decisions today. You're allowed to take your time. You deserve that much. And whatever happens, I'll support you. I promise." Her eyes filled with tears. She had never felt such care and honesty from anyone. It was one thing to be loved, and quite another to be trusted so completely. She realized that trusting him with her heart and with her choice was easier than she had expected. Later that day, as Tom worked on the fences, Anna walked through the fields, thinking about the life she had left behind. She had grown up in a world of luxury and expectations, where decisions were dictated by responsibility and family pressure. But here, in the golden fields and under the wide blue sky, she felt free, strong, and alive. She didn't want to give that up. Suddenly, she heard the roar of a car engine. She looked up and saw a sleek black car pulling into the driveway. Her heart skipped a beat. Her family had returned this time, with more people and authority. Anxiety prickled at her, but she forced herself to stand tall. Tom appeared behind her, placing a steady hand on her shoulder. "We'll face this together," he said quietly. "No matter what happens, you are not alone." The car door opened, and her parents stepped out, followed by a well-dressed assistant. Their expressions were a mixture of concern, expectation, and authority. "Anna," her father said firmly, "it's time to come home. We've arranged everything. You cannot stay here indefinitely." Anna took a deep breath. I know. But I want to stay here, at least for a while longer," she said, her voice calm but strong. Her mother's eyes softened, but her father frowned. "You must think clearly, Anna. You cannot abandon your responsibilities." Tom stepped forward. "She has found peace here," he said firmly. "And she deserves to make her own choice. This is her life, not yours. I will not let anyone force her against her will." There was a tense silence. Anna's parents looked at each other, clearly unprepared for this challenge. Her mother sighed. "Anna, we are not trying to punish you. But you must understand that your decisions have consequences. You cannot ignore your life out there." Anna nodded. "I understand. But I also need to live my life where I feel happiness. That's here, with Tom. And I'm willing to face the consequences for choosing this path." Her father hesitated, then finally nodded slowly. "Very well. But we will expect regular updates. And you must promise that you will not make this a permanent conflict." Anna smiled faintly, relieved. "I promise." After her family left, Anna sank onto the porch steps, letting the weight of the day settle. Tom joined her, wrapping a protective arm around her shoulders. "You were brave today," he said quietly. "I had to be," she replied. "It wasn't just about me. It was about us, this life we're trying to build." Tom nodded. "And you were right. It's not easy, but it's worth it. Sometimes, the right path isn't the easy one." The two of them sat together, watching the sun set over the golden fields. The air was calm again, and the farm seemed to breathe with them. Anna realized that choosing to stay here and to trust Tom was not just about escaping her old life. It was about embracing honesty, love, and courage, the very things she had been missing for so long. As night fell and stars appeared in the sky, they walked through the fields, hand in hand. Anna felt a deep gratitude for this man who had not only saved her life but had also given her the courage to face her world and make her own decisions. For the first time, she understood that love was not about wealth, power, or influence. It was about trust, care, and the willingness to stand together through uncertainty. And as she looked at Tom, she felt certain that no matter what challenges came, they would face them together stronger, braver, and united by the simple but powerful bond they had forged on the farm. The farm, quiet and golden under the moonlight, had become more than just a place of work. It had become a place of hope, love, and new beginnings, a sanctuary where two very different lives could meet and grow together. The morning sun rose over the wheat fields, casting a warm golden light that made the farm glow. Tom and Anna walked side by side through the tall stalks, their hands brushing occasionally, the quiet comfort between them stronger than words. Life on the farm had grown into a rhythm that felt natural and peaceful, yet both of them knew that the journey ahead would test their courage, patience, and hearts. Anna had spent the past weeks learning more about the farm than she had ever imagined she could. She knew how to feed the animals, plant seeds, repair fences, and even work the irrigation. She had laughed when she spilled water on herself and had felt pride when she repaired a broken gate perfectly. Every task brought her closer to Tom, and every day reminded her that happiness could be found in simple, honest work. Tom, in turn, had grown even more protective of Anna, not out of fear, but out of love. He admired her courage, her willingness to learn, and the gentle strength she carried despite the challenges of her life. He had seen the way she opened up, slowly sharing her stories, her laughter, and the small joys of her world beyond the farm. He had learned to see her not as someone from a different life, but as a partner, a friend, and perhaps even more. One afternoon, as they rested under the old oak tree at the edge of the fields, Anna turned to Tom. "I've been thinking," she said quietly, "about everything that's happened. About the crash, this farm, you, and the life I left behind." Tom looked at her, curious. "What about it?" "I realized something important," Anna continued, her voice steady but soft. "It's not about wealth or status. It's about what makes me feel alive, what makes me happy. And that is here. With you. With this life." Tom felt a warmth spread through his chest. He had hoped for her words, but hearing them spoken aloud made his heart race. "Anna," he said softly, "I don't need anything else if that's how you feel. I want this life too. I want us to face it together." Anna smiled, a quiet, content smile that lit up her face. "Then let's do it," she said. "Let's make this life ours whatever comes." In the following days, they worked side by side, planning improvements to the farm, planting new crops, and repairing old buildings. Anna even suggested small ideas she had picked up from her past life, ways to make the farm more efficient and comfortable. Tom welcomed her ideas, amazed at how her experiences, though so different from his own, could enhance the life they were building together. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Tom and Anna stood on the porch, watching the fields glow in the last light of day. The farm was quiet except for the gentle rustle of the wheat and the distant calls of the animals settling for the night. "Do you ever regret coming here?" Tom asked, breaking the silence. Anna shook her head, smiling. "Not for a moment. This place, this life, it's taught me more about myself than anything else ever could. And you you've taught me what it means to trust, to care, and to love. Tom reached out, taking her hand in his. And you've taught me that life is full of surprises. Sometimes, the most unexpected things like meeting you can change everything for the better. They stood together, watching the sun disappear, feeling the gentle breeze and the soft warmth of connection that had grown between them. It was a love not built on wealth, not on power, but on trust, care, and shared moments in the simple life they were creating. Weeks passed, and the farm flourished. Anna's parents visited occasionally, still cautious but slowly accepting that their daughter's happiness was found here, in the fields and beside Tom. Anna remained respectful, explaining her choices with confidence, showing that she had found strength in her own decisions. The community around the farm also began to notice the changes. Tom and Anna worked together seamlessly, helping neighbors when needed, sharing their harvests, and bringing a sense of energy and hope to the small countryside. Their lives, once separate and distant, had merged into something beautiful, honest, and enduring. One quiet evening, as the stars shone above the golden fields, Anna and Tom sat together by the old oak tree. They talked about dreams for the future, not about wealth or status, but about the farm, their plans, and the life they wanted to share. Anna leaned her head on Tom's shoulder. "I never imagined life could feel like this," she said softly. "Simple, honest, and full of love. I never thought I'd be this happy." Tom kissed the top of her head gently. "Me neither. But now that we have it, I'll do everything I can to protect it. Protect you. Protect us." For the first time, Anna felt completely at peace. The farm, the fields, and the life she had found here were more than a refuge. They were a home, a place where love could grow naturally, where dreams could flourish, and where two very different people could meet and create something extraordinary. As the night settled in, the wind carried the soft whispers of the wheat, the quiet promise of tomorrow, and the enduring hope that comes when hearts find each other. In that golden silence, Anna and Tom understood that life's true wealth was not in money or status, but in trust, courage, and the simple, unshakable joy of being together. And so, the farm became more than just a place of work. It became a place of new beginnings, where two lives had found one another, ready to face whatever came next, side by side, with hearts full of hope and love.